Okay, now so far we have learnt what is develop project charter, then we have learnt how to identify stakeholders, we saw what is develop project management plan, then we saw collect requirements. Okay, now today in today's class we are going to learn what is scope management. In the scope management we shall see how to define the scope. Okay, so it comes under the project scope management knowledge area. So we are going to see how to define the scope. So this is a very important class as far as project management is concerned. So we are going to see what is defined scope, and defined scope comes under the knowledge area project scope management. So look at this particular picture here. Now what is a project scope? It is the work that the project team has to perform to create the product. Now I told you that what is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor which will create a unique product, service or a result. Now if you want to create a project, you have to do some work. For example, if you want to create a building, you have to do some work. What is that work needed to create that building is called as the scope of the project. So scope of the project will tell me what we are trying to do. See, I can see here you have three things. One is the scope, resources and schedule. Now the scope is basically trying to tell us what are we trying to do and how are we going to build the product, how are we going to build the service, how are you going to build the result. So project scope is about the work involved in order to build a particular product or a service or a result. So this is very important. So you should know the difference between a product versus project scope. Two things are there. One is the product scope, another one is the project scope. What is the product scope? The product scope is nothing but its features and its functions. For example, you want to build a product called mobile phone. Apple wants to build a product called new mobile phone, smartphone. So what are the features of that product? So it should have smartphone facilities, it should have internet facility, it should have facility to make voice calls, it should have facility to make video calls, it should have high resolution camera. So these are some of the facilities which are actually thought of in order to create a new product, are nothing but the features. Now in order to create this product, you have to start a project. So what is that project scope? How are you going to achieve that product? How are you going to achieve that functionality is called as a project scope. Always remember, a project will create a product. The scope of the product means the functionalities of the product, and the scope of the project is how you are going to plan in order to achieve the functionalities of that particular product is called as a project scope. So this process called as define scope will help you to define the scope of the project. That means what work has to be done in order to accomplish the objective of creating a unique product, service or a result. See, that is the basic difference between a product scope and a project scope. Now, how do you create this project scope statement? For that you need to have inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. See, I told you that any process will have input, you will have tools and techniques and you will have output. Now in order to create a project scope, you need to have a project charter. This is a very important document because it will authorize the project. Then you have requirements documentation. So last class you did requirements documentation. You collected the requirements from the stakeholder. So that requirement should be there with you. See, unless and until you don't know what is the requirement of the customer, how will you achieve it? How will you plan to achieve it? So if you want to know the project scope, you need to know the requirements. Requirements are nothing but the features of the product what the customer wants. So that requirement documentation should also be there with you. And you should have OPA. OPA stands for Organizational Process Assets. Like it could be templates or it could be policies of your organization, which is very important, working policies. So many things are required. So all these are the inputs required in order to create a project scope statement. The first input required is the project charter. The second input required is called the requirements documentation, and the third input required is called as an organizational process asset. So now once you have these inputs ready, so you have some tools and techniques. See, some tools and techniques we have already seen in the previous class. We saw what is facilitated workshops. These tools and techniques we have already seen. And we also know what is expert judgment. Expert judgment means people who are subject matter experts will come and they will give their judgment. Then there are two more important techniques here, which is called as the product analysis and the alternatives identification. Now this is very important. In order to create a project scope statement, you need to have expert judgment, you need to have facilitated workshops, you need to have product analysis, and you need to have alternatives identification. So one by one we will take it up and see how they are actually acting as tools and techniques. By using the input called project charter, requirements documentation, and the organizational process asset, in order to develop something called as a project scope plan. So we shall see one by one now. Now what is this first one? The first one is called as product analysis. Very important. See, we know that the project will create a product. Very important. So the first tool and technique here is analyzing the product. What is that product analysis? It will convert product description and project objectives into deliverables and requirements. Now under product analysis you have many things. You have value analysis, you have value engineering, you will have functional analysis, and you have systems engineering. I will tell you one by one what is it. It is very important for you to understand. See, first of all, you need to understand the meaning of the word value in project management. What is the meaning of the word value? Value basically means functions over cost. Let me explain this to you by writing it down. It actually means functions over cost. So let me show you what is that. I'll open the Jamboard. So we are going to talk about what is value. So what is this value all about? This value all about can be thought of function. We will have a function and we are going to divide that by cost, something like this. So I'll say F divided by C is equal to value. Function divided by cost is called as a value. Now what is this functions divided by cost? Okay, I'll take one simple example for you to make you understand. Let's say that you have a wall clock in your house. A wall clock, the clock which you will put on the wall. Now what and all functions the wall clock has? The wall clock will show you time. Probably it may show you hours, minutes and seconds. So there are three functions of the wall clock. One is it will show you hours, it will show you minutes, it will show you seconds. Probably you may also have a function where it will beep every hour. So 4 functions. And what is the cost of the wall clock? I will say the cost of the wall clock is 1000 rupees. Now 4 functions are there in that wall clock and the cost of that wall clock is 1000 rupees. This function divided by cost is called as the value of that particular wall clock. Now what you did, you brought a wristwatch. That wristwatch cost also was 1000 rupees only, but wristwatch also showed you hour, wristwatch also showed you minute, wristwatch also showed you seconds. But the wristwatch was portable, it was mobile. That means what? You can tie that wristwatch on your hand. Can you tie a wall clock on your hand? That is not possible. So wristwatch had 5 functionalities, and let us say that the cost of that wristwatch is also 1000 rupees. Now what did you understand from the wall clock and wristwatch? Wall clock had 4 functionalities and the cost was 1000 rupees. Wristwatch had 5 functionalities and the cost was 1000 rupees. Now the value of the wristwatch is more than the value of the wall clock, because for the same cost of 1000 rupees you are giving more functionalities in the wristwatch as when compared to that of the wall clock. Okay, now we'll go further. Then you will buy one more wristwatch. That wristwatch will show you date as well as time, which means it will have 6 functionalities, and the value still remains the same, 1000 rupees. Now this wristwatch, which will show you date, time, will have more value than that of the first wall clock and that of the second wristwatch. Then you will buy one more wristwatch that will show you the speed traveled, your heartbeat, ECG, blood pressure, everything, smart wristwatch. So let us say that for our example, I will keep that price also as 1000 rupees. Now what is happening? The functionalities are increasing, the cost is remaining the same. That means as you increase the functions and you keep the cost consistent, the value of the product keeps on increasing. This is called as a value. So value is such an important, significant factor in defining the scope, because we have to find out the value of the product what we are designing. Value of the product means what? Functionality of the product. I told you any project will create either a product, service or a result. The moment I think of a product, it has got some functionalities. I told you what is the meaning of a product scope? The functionalities of that particular product. So that product will have some value. What is the value of that product? The functionalities of that particular product divided by the cost. How much money you are going to spend in order to achieve that particular functionality will decide the value of that particular product. So this concept is called as value analysis. First you need to understand what is value. Now we shall see what is value analysis. We understood what is value. Value means the functionalities of the product divided by the cost to achieve that functionality. Now what is value analysis? It is always done on an existing product. I have given you an example, development of a gaming device. See, earlier in 1990s there was a small gaming device. There was a device where you used to play water games. So you had a small pocket where it was used to filled with water, and there used to be rings in that floating in that particular water, and I had to use the pressure of the water to put the rings. So that was the first gaming device which I played. Then slowly what happened? Digital gaming device came into picture. So they took the user experience and they came out with a digital gaming device. Then after a few years, a gaming device with a joystick came. And after a few years, virtual reality gaming device came. That means there is a product called gaming device. I started adding value to it by talking to my user. The user kept on telling me, I want something more, I want something more, I want something more. The product and the concept was the same, but I started adding more and more value to it. And today I have a virtual reality gaming. It started off from that water game to the virtual reality game. But still the games are games only. So this concept is called as value analysis. But there is something called as value engineering. Value engineering means developing a new product altogether. Value analysis means taking one product and adding values to it. Like how you basically constructed a wall clock, from wall clock to a wristwatch, from wristwatch to a digital. What is happening here is, it is basically showing you time, but how you are using it, it is actually changing. But in value engineering, you are actually developing new product every time. Okay, I will take one simple example. You have an ATM machine. So what is the functionality of an ATM machine? You will insert the debit card, you will give the PIN number, the currency notes will come to you. So that is the first functionality of an ATM machine, where you have the currency notes coming from that ATM machine. So value engineering means you are going to develop new product every time. See, now ATM machine is there, you are inserting the debit card, output you are getting as a currency note. Now what happened, that is the first value of an ATM machine, first product, first functionality. After that you came out with a swipe machine for swiping the card. Now here the functionality is totally different. Currency is not coming here. What is happening is you are swiping the card. When you are swiping the card, what is happening? The amount is getting transferred from your account to the merchant account automatically. So that means there is no enhancement on the ATM machine. ATM machine functionality is different. Swipe card machine functionality is different. So this is called as value engineering. You are engineering a new functionality altogether. You are not building upon the existing functionality, like in case of value analysis. Then after swipe card, you came out with UPI payment. So in UPI payment, you don't even have to have a debit card swiper in your hand. You only need to have a UPI bank account. So you can directly transfer amount from one bank to another bank using Google Pay or Phone Pay or whatever it is. That is one more added functionality which was not there in the card machine. So every time the functionality is differing and they are not related to each other. This concept is called as value engineering. So what is value engineering? It is developing a new product, increasing the value of the product by increasing the function but by decreasing the cost. This is very important. See, what is the cost of building an ATM machine and what is the cost of building a card reader? Card reader has got more functionality than an ATM machine. It is more easier, but the cost is reduced. Now UPI payment has got still more functionalities than a card reader, but the value of that particular UPI card transaction app is still reduced. So that means value engineering talks about increasing the value of the product by increasing its functionality but by decreasing the cost. Value analysis talks about always done on an existing product. You have an existing product, you keep on adding new functionalities to that particular product. But you can ensure that the cost remains the same, or you can increase the cost, or you can even decrease the cost. For example, I told you for a wall clock construction, you have a wall clock, now you have a cost of that particular wall clock as 1000 rupees. So in the wall clock, you have the cost of the wall clock as 1000 rupees. Then comes the wristwatch. Wristwatch has got more functionalities than the wall clock. The cost is still 1000 rupees. Then came the digital clock. Digital clock has more functionalities than a wristwatch. Still the cost is 1000 rupees. Then came with the smartwatch. The smartwatch also has got still more functionalities than the digital watch, and the cost still remains 1000 rupees. So value analysis is always done on the existing product, whereas value engineering is always used to develop a new product. Now in order to do this, you have to do functional analysis. What is functional analysis? Is a technique used to identify and understand the needs of the product or a service. What does it do? What must it do? Now I am talking about product. If the product should have certain functionalities. what and all functions the product must do is called as function analysis. So you have the requirements documentation from the customer. Customer has given you the requirements. All the requirements will become the functionalities of the product. So you perform functional analysis and identify what and all functionalities my product has to have. Once the functionality is achieved, then you do value analysis or value engineering and see how to enhance those functionalities. And you have to do a process called system engineering. What is that system engineering? It is the process focusing on satisfying the customer needs, cost requirements, quality demands through design and creation of the product, use of design techniques. So now I want to build a product. I know what functionalities I am supposed to put inside the product because I know the functionalities by perform the functional analysis. I have done my value analysis if needed, or I have done my value engineering if needed. But how do I put these functionalities into my product? I have to design it. The designing is called as system engineering. So we have to draw a flow chart, or we have to put one data flow diagram, or we have to put one graph. It is a pictorial representation of how do you achieve functionalities to that particular product. That pictorial representation is the design of that particular product, or it is the design of that particular system. That process of designing the product. See, let us say that you are talking to LG company and you are asking them to design a specific TV only for you, not for anybody else. So you will give that my TV should have these many functions. What functions? Already all those functions are already there. You say that my TV has to be screened with my mobile. So that is one functionality. My TV should be able to have an internet browser built in inside it. That is one more functionality. Okay, my TV should be able to connect to Wi-Fi. That is another functionality. This is called as functional analysis. But in order to do this, I have to design it now. How can I simply, if you say that you give me a function of putting a Wi-Fi into my TV, can I simply put one card and say that Wi-Fi is connected? It's not possible. I have to design it. I have to work out a mechanism where how the television can be connected to a Wi-Fi. I have to work out a mechanism where how the television can be connected to your mobile phone. Maybe I have to design a system or a subsystem. How does that system and subsystem look like is called as system engineering. So system engineering is a process of designing a component or a service as decided by the functional analysis. Now how do you do this? There are different tools and techniques which we have been talking about. So we saw what is product analysis already. Now there is one more tools and technique called alternative identification. See, what is alternative identification? I told you that we have a concept called systems engineering where you are going to design in a form of a block diagram and show how the functionalities can be achieved in my system. But generally the design is nothing but a solution in order to achieve the functionality of a product. But you should not have only one solution, you should have multiple solutions. See, suppose if you say me that you design me a TV which can basically integrate Wi-Fi into my TV, I should have 3-4 designs to do that. I cannot simply make one design and say, okay, go and implement this particular design. No. In project management, we have a concept called multiple designs. We call it as diversification. Diversification means having multiple designs. Now I have design 1, design 2, design 3, design 4, design 5. All the designs are there for what purpose? For integrating the Wi-Fi in my TV. Now I will brainstorm with the people and check which is the best design among all the 4 designs. Which is the best designs among all the 4 designs. Alternative identification. I have 4 design alternatives. Among the 4 design alternatives, I am going to choose which is the best design suited to implement this particular functionality. That is called as alternative identification, and this can be done using lateral thinking. You have to think out of the box, you have to be very creative, or brainstorming. What is the meaning of brainstorming? You have designed, you have made 4 designs. You yourself cannot decide that this is the best design. You have to brainstorm with many people. You have to bring so many people from various departments, show them all the 4 designs and ask them to tell you which is the best design for this particular function. So now we have understood the tools and techniques. We understood what is product analysis. So product analysis means understanding the value of the product. We do value analysis, we do value engineering, we do functional analysis, we do systems engineering. Then you do alternatives identification, where you will identify the best design among the rest of the designs, and that can be done using through facilitated workshops also. I told you what is facilitated workshops. See, in your case, you are only 4 family members. You can sit and design, you can brainstorm and design. But when I am building a very big system where the design is very complicated, the design is running into multiple pages, and there are so many designs available, then I have to put all the subject matter experts and I have to perform a workshop. And I'll ask them to debate which is the best design to be implemented for incubating the functionalities to that particular product. That is called as facilitated workshop. That also is one of the tools and techniques. Then you can also do expert judgment. Already there are some people who have implemented this particular functionality in the product in some projects. So they know how to implement it. So they'll be able to tell you which is the best design. See, for example, let's say you are constructing a flyover from Silkboard to Electronic City. That is the requirement. Functional analysis you have done. You have identified the requirements for the flyover. What and all functionalities it should contain. You have identified. Now you have come out with designs, 3-4 designs you have come out. Now you have brought in a person from Calcutta who has already constructed 10 to 12 flyovers there. So he has seen multiple designs in his career. So you bring him as a subject matter expert and you ask him to review the designs what you have. So he will be able to tell you this design is the best design, because he has an experience of constructing 5-6 flyovers. So he is already an expert. So his judgment of choosing the design will always be good. That concept is called as an expert judgment. Now what are the outputs? The outputs are, after doing all these things, you are going to get the project scope statement. How you are going to achieve that particular work. Now what did you do in a project scope statement? Define scope. In the defined scope, you identified the product's functionality, you performed value engineering, you performed value analysis, you performed system engineering, you identified the best design out of the rest. Now you came to know what is the product all about. You came to know the product scope. Then once you know the product scope, you should know how to achieve that particular scope using the project scope. So you know the deliverables of that particular project. So that deliverable of the project is called as a project scope statement. And you may have to even update the stakeholder register, stakeholders requirement documentation. Sometimes, you know, after choosing the design, you will say you will have to make some minor changes to the requirement. You may say, tell your stakeholder that your requirement was like this, the design is going to be like this, which means you have to make some slight changes to your requirement. So you have to update the requirement documentation. So if you have to update the requirement documentation, you have to also update the requirement traceability matrix. We saw what is requirement traceability matrix in the last class. And where are the requirements coming from? The requirements are coming from the stakeholder register. So you may have to even update it. So this particular process called as define scope process will help you to create these 2 things. One is the project scope statement. You will get the project scope statement, which will tell you what work has to be accomplished, what work has to be done in order to create that particular product. and it will also have the project document updates. So, both the things will act as an output of this particular process called as define scope.